Mark had a tough game, but then Serge comes in and you. I mean, I don't want to say you don't miss him, but I mean, he comes in and basically picks up the slack and almost to the point where you don't miss him. Are those two guys almost interchangeable now for you?
Yeah, I think so, Mike. I mean, I think that's the nice, thing about having them is and that's kind of some of my job is to figure out who's got it on the night and who to have in there and stuff, right? So it's nice that I don't know. I think Serge has had two real good, energetic games. He didn't score a ton last night, but he was a good player out there. It doesn't always reflect in points and all that stuff, but he was good and energetic. And Mark had a tough one. But this is, as you know, the playoffs, it changes every game, good to bad, and it usually moves itself around, as we found out last year, right? So, yeah, it's good. It's good that Serge has come in with great energy both nights.
All right, appreciate it. Thanks, Nick.
Yeah, thanks, Mike.
Next, we go to Doug Smith from the Toronto Star.
Good morning, Nick. How you doing?
Good, Doug. How are you?
I'm all right, thank you. One of the concerns when this whole process started was teams being able to keep players from losing their minds, being sort of stuck in odd circumstances. How have you and your organization been able to keep people's heads okay and not get too frustrated by the circumstances?
Well, Doug, I think that we have a team that likes to be around each other for the most part. I think we try to do things in a professional manner. We try to have some fun along with it. It's a long kind of journey and process, and there's some times where you got to push, but there's some times you got to put your arms around them and relax a little bit and try to keep even keeled, and a lot of kind of just the feel of what's going on, but usually we're trying to do the right thing. We're trying to put a good plan together. We're trying to give a great effort, and we're trying to do it together. And that's kind of the messaging we just try to stay consistent with.
Is there a balance between keeping them together and giving them time away from each other that you've had to strike?
No, I mean, I haven't had to orchestrate any of that, Doug. I think that they kind of do that on their own a little bit. Even in this scenario, it's fairly easy to be on your own. If you want to be on your own, you can go back to your room, and we're not trying to drag them out for anything in particular other than the work related things, and then an occasional meal or something here and there that we'll do together. And they seem pretty comfortable. They seem fairly happy. I mean, there's some hardships here, but there's also some things that are very nice about being here. We feel safe. We're getting to play. We got a good team that loves to play and compete. There's a lot of things that are good to stay positive about as well.
Thanks, Nick. Appreciate it very much as always.
You're welcome, Doug.
I'm going to go next to Stephen Lung from Sportsnet.
Hey, Coach. Thanks for doing this. I was just wondering, like with that closing smaller lineup that you used last night, looking at the tape, perhaps this morning, did you glean anything more from it? Like where did you see stuff that you liked in particular, stuff that you may want to see corrected, like things like that?
Well, it was good. It was good, Stephen. Obviously, they made some really good plays at the end. Pascal made a great deflection with about 1:50 to go on a play. We obviously got a great stop at the end, but we were really close. I thought a couple possessions to kind of putting the game away, and we didn't quite get it done either. So it was good, but it wasn't maybe great. The small lineup. But again, it was. I was trying to get Pascal back in there, and Norman, everybody else was playing really well. So just kind of went with that, and I'm just glad we were able to hang on for the win.
Do you like it more from an offensive standpoint or a defensive standpoint?
Well, there should be reasons to like it from both ends of the floor, Stephen. I thought it was fairly good from the defensive end. and it wasn't quite as good at the offensive end, but we just made a couple little mistakes. Like the shots were there, but we turned them down and then put ourselves into a late shot clock situation, or we went in and had a nice shot and just didn't finish it. So it wasn't like it was a turnover problem that the offense was, that offense, if they were creating the shots, they just didn't quite produce enough out of it.
Thanks a lot, Coach.
Yeah, you're welcome, Steven.
Next, we have Josh Lewenberg from TSN.
Hey, Nick. Couple games in a row now where OG has been really good down the stretch. I remember you telling us, I think it was before the season, that you were talking to him or texting with him, and he was saying that he wanted to be out there more in the fourth quarter. How have you seen him take advantage of those reps that he's gotten throughout the season, and then especially here over the last 2 games?
Well, he's been really good defensively, Josh. As you know, he's really working hard there and taking pride in it and making that part of who he is. I know that's kind of what we wanted him. We needed him to be and what we wanted him to be, and what he could do because of his physical attributes and his athleticism. But he's really making it part of what he wants to be, and that's huge. That's very important. And again, also for the most part, he can shoot the ball. It's not like you can disrespect him down there at the other end. I thought he turned down a corner 3 late in the shot clock that he could have taken, and he tried to drive it instead. So that's just a little bit of a decision-making thing. But he's cut. He's got on the glass some. He's shot the 3 ball. He's really becoming a really good player. Is the real bottom line about it. He's really becoming a really good player for our team.
Did it seem like that Kurik's play got him going a little bit yesterday in the fourth?
A little bit, yeah.
Thanks, Nick.
You're welcome, Josh.
Go to Rachel Brady from the Globe and Mail next.
Hey, Nick. Normally, like in Toronto this time of year, you can really sort of feel the playoff vibe. I guess not this time of year, but you know what I mean, playoff time. You can feel it in Toronto. How has the team as an organization been able to kind of like recreate or refashion that and ship it to you guys sort of in Orlando to create that vibe for you guys that it's a distinct time of year?
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's obviously it's different, Rachel, but I think once the game gets going, it's not that much different. I don't know. I don't really know what to say. I think maybe the post game and pre-game and traveling to and from the arena, you do get a sense of a little bit more of a vibe than you're getting here. But I think once the ball goes up, it's good. But the special anthems, the crowd seems to be good. The family introductions was a special treat. I thought the anthem on game 1 was spectacular. Again, just little special things that they kind of hit you right here, and those things matter.
Can you tell us the story behind the mask you're wearing today?
Well, that's the Arkells. That's the Arkells, and they dropped an album today, an acoustic album, Campfire Chords, I believe it's called. So I wanted to my friend Max and all the guys dropped an album today, so I thought I'd wear their mask in support of them today.
Cool. Thanks, Nick.
Yep.
Next, we have Eric Corrine from The Athletic.
Hey, Nick, you mentioned Pascal's deflection at the end of the game yesterday. In general, have you seen his, in particular, his off-ball defense, but his defense in general sort of rise since the bubble?
He's been really good at times, Eric, and I think he's been really good in these games. Usually you can tell when he's going defensively if he's really flying out to shooters. He gets in the paint, they kick it out, and he's so quick and long that he'll be out there really contesting a 3 ball. And when you see him doing that, he's engaged, and then he's making other plays. That was an amazing play yesterday, Eric. It was such an effort play. He got up to impact the ball handler and then got back to Allen on the roll, and it was a pretty good pass. He really had to jump and reach with everything. He had to use maximum effort there to get his hands on that. And again, it was, minute 40 to go. So it was a heck of heck of a play he made there.
Additionally, I wanted to ask you about guarding LeVert. I mean, you've shown him a bit of everything, but the initial defense has often been Fred or sometimes Kyle, basically a shorter guard versus somebody like OG and Pascal, although like there's been both. Can you speak to why you think that's the right way to play it so far? Not that it might, I mean, obviously it might change tomorrow, so who knows, but why have you gone that direction? I'll stop.
Well, it's a kind of completely different looks, Eric, and normally it depends on, well, what we're thinking they may do, right? So Fred goes on him to get underneath him a little bit and to defeat some of the ball screens on his own, and they're playing a lot of pick and roll, but then they try to ISO and go shoot over the top of him, and then we try to, then when we try to get some more size on him between OG or Pascal. So it's a lot of guys have ended up covering him, which I think is good. We're sending one way, then we send him the other. We're up some, we're back some, we're switching some, we're trapping some. You're right. You said it. He's seeing everything we got, and we had to use everything yesterday.
Thanks, Nick.
You're welcome.
Next, we have Michael Grange from Sportsnet.
Hey, Nick. I'm going to hazard a Pascal question. There's a handful of possessions the other day, and we've seen the last few games, I guess, where he gets into like multiple dribbles in a face-up situation. Is that something you're comfortable with, or would you rather have him kind of catch it and put it on the floor twice and go, or what do you read into those?
Well, I think yesterday I did mention that he needed to play on the catch more, and I thought he did, and I thought it was
Right.
helpful for him. But there's also times where he is going to ISO, and he may take 9 dribbles, Michael, to get a shot off. I mean, I think with each and every dribble, the defense gets a chance to load up a little bit, but I mean, you see some of the best players in the league. Sometimes they're sizing things up and trying to figure out if they're going to fire a pass or take a shot or find a seam or take a step back or, drive it or kick it or whatever. So some of that he's just trying to create offense, not necessarily a shot, just create offense. So I don't think I love that all the time, but I'm comfortable with it sometimes.
And not just necessarily with him, but with anybody. What kind of steps do you take to try and get guys playing off the catch? I presume a lot of weak side action and having them coming from away to the ball type stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's more, Michael, a mindset of how we play. We want most of our guys to play off the catch. I mean, and that only, to me makes sense, because usually if you get the ball thrown to you, you're open, and somebody's closing to you, right? So that's the time to play off the catch and try to attack them coming one way and you going the other. So most of our guys, we want to play that. I would say that's probably a foundational principle of our offense.
Appreciate it, Nick. Thank you.
Yeah.
2 more for you, Coach. Going to go to Blake Murphy from The Athletic first.
Hey, Coach. Great mask. Just to double back to
Hey, Blake.
Yeah.
Have you downloaded the album yet?
Of course I have.
All right. It's pretty nice, right? Pretty good.
Yeah, I love Arkells. Nice little summery vibe to some of their older stuff.
Yeah, awesome. All right, go ahead.
We got to get Max on top of the CN Tower for the next anthem.
I'm sure we can do that.
Just back to the unit that you closed with last night. I know that you guys don't get too down in the data or whatever, but in a season like this, we've had a lot of injuries and you don't have a ton of 5-man unit lineup data. Is that purely a feel thing, or are there some things you're looking at, like, okay, we think Siakam and OG can work against this type of thing ahead of time?
Well, it's a really good question, Blake. I think that there is a lot of feel to it. And like I said after the game and today earlier, that I'm trying to get my best guys on the floor, and sometimes maybe a guy's having a good individual night and a good team night, but there's a unit of guys that makes a big run, right? And you're not trying to upset that. And that's kind of what happened to Pascal yesterday, why he sat kind of deeper than normal. Serge was playing active. He wasn't scoring a ton, but he was playing active. He was doing a lot of really good things. That unit as a group was extending the lead, right? So that was the feel part of it. And there's also, sometimes you don't want to give in to playing small. If they're playing small, you want your big guys to be able to play and combat that that they're playing so small. And you gotta weigh that sometimes too. You can't be super hard-headed sometimes about that. Sometimes you got to go small and match them too. So there's all kinds of stuff working there.
Cool. Thanks so much, Coach.
Yeah.
And final question is going to go to Greg Logan from Newsday.
Nick, appreciate what you had to say about how you loaded up on Levert yesterday. But Joe Harris had to leave the bubble for the Nets for a personal reason. His mom has cancer. We don't know the exact details. But how will that affect how you defend them tomorrow if there is no Joe Harris there to try and relieve the pressure? How much easier does that make it for you?
Well, first of all, Gregory, I'm sorry to hear that about Joe's mother. It's too bad, and he's really played great and had a great series. Obviously, he was a handful yesterday and doing everything, like 15 rebounds or something, and obviously he's a knockdown. He's one of the premier knockdown guys in the league, and that means that means a lot of things. You got to hug him, you got to chase him, you got to really work. It frees up a lot of driving and rolling and all that kind of stuff when you got a guy like that out there. So it's unfortunate. I mean, unfortunate for him and his family and his personal situation, first and foremost, and for their team. We always want the best players out there playing.